we're going to talk about today?
I mean, it was your idea to talk about it.
Well, okay, well, let's do the intro then.
Okay, let's do the intro.
Well, welcome to Love and Grace Conversations in Marriage. Mike and Sherry. So today's topic's what? Cooking?
Cooking.
Cooking.
Or shared duties.
Shared duties.
In the
Okay.
kitchen.
In the kitchen. Okay. So non-traditional roles. Okay. I like it. I you know what I love about?
I mean, it's a marriage thing, right? So we could always be cooking other places too. I'm just saying. I just thought I'd point that out.
Behave yourself. So I think for me, you threw me on my train of thought. Okay, so I think for me, I never thought I would marry someone that loved to cook. It wasn't something that, it wasn't like, how some people can have a list, and ladies have their list of what
do you
they
mean some
want.
people can have a list? You did have a list.
Oh, you're gonna put you all like that.
I'm just saying.
Well, I had a list.
And I didn't match
no,
a
you
lot
did
of those
not.
things
You didn't,
on that
you
list.
didn't match those things. But thank God is sovereign.
That's for another topic.
That's for
later,
another topic,
but still.
yeah. But you still just put that in.
Yeah.
Well, God is sovereign, and
Yes.
sovereignty always wins out. So
It does.
I
well,
can
when you're
always-
obedient.
True.
Which
true.
you were, and so was I, because I wasn't trying to be obedient at first either.
That's true. That is true. So he's sovereign, and you never know what you need until you have it. But I love to cook, and you love to cook, so that can create a dynamic in the kitchen of like it could create conflict. Where I remembered, before I go on that point, I remember when we were dating, and we were talking about some random conversations about renovating a house, and I mentioned the kitchen. You were like, "Oh, that's my domain." I was like, "What?" That threw me for a loop because I wasn't expecting that. And since then, I think we've come up to, it's still primarily going to be your domain because you and I have very, very different cooking styles.
I think we did, and we kind of still do, in mainly one area that you have improved on. You know what I'm talking about? Yes. In the cleaning up after yourself as you go area.
Yeah. But when we got married, you agreed. You agreed that if I cooked, you would clean. And so you kind of enabled my bad habit, so to speak.
No. If you recall correctly,
Okay.
it was if you cooked, I would clean the dishes up from when we ate.
Not the whole kitchen.
It wasn't.
After.
I would clean the kitchen after you. I mean, yes, to some degree, a little bit, but it was the deal. Was you cook, we eat. I'll clean up the dishes. When I cook, we eat. You clean up the dishes. That's what that was. It wasn't.
But it never became
It wasn't.
that
I'll
way.
cook and then you come clean up after me and the kid. That's not what that was.
Well, but we will admit that that was a weakness I think I had because. Interestingly enough, I grew up with a mother that loved to cook, and she cleaned up after as she cooked. So I don't know where I did pick up that habit. I could say
I can tell you right now where you pick up that habit.
boarding school.
No.
What?
You are messy by nature. I mean, am I wrong?
That's not the. I wouldn't use that word messy.
You are disorganized.
I'm not organized.
You're disorganized. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Messy is not the right word. You are
yeah,
disorganized.
because when you say messy has a negative connotation. Like
You're not messy.
I
but you
go
are
around and
yeah.
I'm just like creating.
But your
havoc.
disorganization creates what appears to be messy at times.
Okay.
At times.
I can take that. I mean,
But you clean it up. It's not like you just leave it. It's not like you're messy, like you leave things and they just stay there forever. That's not.
Yeah, and again, I think I don't even understand. Well, because my background was I went to boarding school and there was no room to be messy. But I do know that. You remember how you got me that book a couple of years ago, which I said I wanted a book about home organization, and the idea was to figure out my style of organizing. And now I've realized now. That out of sight is out of mind for me. I don't want to see it, So bringing that to the kitchen thing, I think what I learned about cooking was I didn't know how to pace myself. Like I couldn't.
Yeah, you try to move from one thing to the other.
To one other, yeah, and I'm not
Very
pacing
quickly.
myself very quickly, and so
You don't prep ahead of time.
I don't prep ahead of time.
You just kind of grab as you go.
Yeah,
And that's okay to some degree, but you do it completely.
Well,
You've gotten better though.
I have gotten better,
have
but
gotten better.
that also is it's also my style of cooking, like in the sense
Right.
that
And that's where our style of cooking differs pretty much in entirety, for the most part.
Yeah.
Is that I like to go in and prep everything and get everything I want or everything I need ahead of time. Now I don't follow recipe a lot, so
which is so interesting.
so
though.
sometimes I will grab stuff on the fly, but I've grabbed the majority of things that I know I need ahead of time.
Yeah, which is very interesting. Now, I'm the structured person, yet I don't cook in a structured way. And you're
That
the
depends on what you're
structured
cooking.
person.
If you're cooking something you're very familiar with, like jollof rice, you know what you're doing so much you don't need to look it up. But you have at times when I'm making something, you're not following a recipe with. I couldn't do that. You have said that. Because
That
when
is
you're
true.
making something you've never made or something that
I get frazzled
you get,
and
you
I
don't
get
get frazzled,
flustered.
but you have to follow a recipe.
Yeah, I have
Well,
to follow
me,
a
I will
recipe.
glance at a recipe
And
and
then
then
you're
just
like,
wing
eh.
it.
You know, that is true. And I think that's back to the conversation about the cooking. I think that's your strength, you know, and that's where we balance each other out. Because there have been times, remember I was trying to make this, I was trying to make brie, and what was I trying to make? Some kind of,
The brie with the honey
yeah,
and
the fruit, and
nuts
I all
stuff.
these plans in it. And then you came in and you brought your own spin to it that everybody loved in my small group. They really liked it. So, you know, it was like, well, I couldn't take credit for that. It was like my husband did it, you know. And they were like, thank Michael, you know. And that's the one thing I can say. And I think our kids benefit from that too, where they come to us for different things, you know.
Yeah.
You know, the girls will come to you for eggs and, you know, and baking. And I do bake too, but they will come to me for certain things. So that's where we balance each other out. I have improved, though, drastically in the cleaning part now.
Oh, yeah.
I have learned, and
Yes.
the only way I know I've done it is just not to try and cook everything all at once. Is to try and get one thing out and get it going, and then I can focus on the next thing so I can
But that's
clean up.
been our only area of frustration
Yeah.
when it does happen. It doesn't happen much, but whenever you call me to come help you when you're cooking, and I walk into the kitchen and it's this
Like a bomb went off.
chaotic mess, I get a little flustered because I don't like dealing with that mess.
Uh-huh.
And so I usually spend the first 5-10 minutes cleaning up the kitchen before I even start helping you.
That is true.
And then I start helping you with whatever it
Uh-huh.
was you need. Unless you're needing like, a pot's boiling over or something, then I jump right in. But then I turn right around and I clean up.
Well, that's again in relationship. That's the strength part. That's the strength that you bring.
It is.
You know, and my strength I bring is like you're heavy-handed sometimes with the salt. I have to balance that for you.
I would disagree. But
No, you don't. No.
I'm not.
The
I'm
kids will.
heavy-handed with salt for you because you happen to be very sensitive.
I am
to salt.
sensitive to salt. That
But
is true. That
You're
is
like
true.
the only one who, more often. That's not that I haven't oversalted things before. Because every cook does sometimes.
True.
Like you're not always gonna.
But
It's
you
not
know-
always gonna be a home run. Like it's just not. But so yes, the girls have complained once or twice about it, but you're the one that complains the most because you're sensitive
I'm
to
very
it. You're
salt
sensitive.
sensitive.
to
Yeah.
it.
But also, okay. So now let's see on the flip side of that though. It might sound like I'm a bad cook. Am I a bad cook?
No, you're an amazing cook.
I think we've actually had the kids try to figure out who's a better cook, and they can't come up with an answer. They keep
Because we
going,
complement each
each
other.
other very well.
We both are good at cooking. In fact, I used to suck at baking, right?
Oh yeah.
And it was you and constant. And it was really you that helped me get past that. I mean, I was fine with baking pies and things like that, but bread, for
Which
whatever
was
reason,
amazing.
kept.
Mhm. Intimidating you.
No, it wasn't intimidating. I just.
It was your kryptonite.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I don't know what. It's just now I make really good bread, and I honestly don't understand what changed because I don't feel like anything did. I just kept doing it until I got it right.
Yeah, and I never, and
but-
again, I have never still been able to perfect my sourdough recipe, and you seem to keep winning on that one.
Because I've told you why.
Why?
Because you keep trying to follow a very rigid, specific
But
formula.
in baking, you have to be rigid, though.
Yes and no. You have to be rigid you have to be more rigid than regular cooking in that you have to be precise on
Okay.
things, like your measurements of your flour and your water, and you want to if you want to be consistent, you have to have the same. You have to have the same.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean you can't have some
Variances.
not in the like in the ingredients, but you try to
Particularly with sourdough. Let's
specifically with
clarify.
sourdough.
Specifically with sourdough bread.
You try to
and we're talking about the kneading process, like trying to really figure out that kneading process.
Yeah, you overcomplicate it. That's the word. You overcomplicate it. It's very, very simple to do. You've even watched me do it a bunch of times, and yet you still try to be a little too rigid with it, I guess.
Well, I think that's where you compliment me, though, babe, because I can overthink things. I get very analytical, particularly when something has been known to be daunting. Sourdough is one of those things that.
Because you let it be.
I know.
Because you think of it as.
I'm talking about me now.
I know, and I'm pointing it out because you let it be. Because you somehow associate it. Well, a lot of people do this. Sourdough is so different from regular bread, and in some ways it is a little bit different, but it's basically the same thing. So you put it in this other category.
Yeah.
And so it messes with your head when it's the same thing.
Once it messes with my head, that's it. It's like, I'm gonna go on overdrive of overthinking it. But we do complement each other that way, though. We work together with cooking. I think we both love cooking.
Yes.
We both enjoy it. And we both love
for different reasons.
For different reasons, and as
you don't have the same. For me, even Nyla pointed it out. She said once that. She sees that for me it's almost like a love language in that I enjoy making something for people and watching them enjoy it.
Yeah, that is true. I do the same thing too.
Not to the same degree.
Well, of course it can be. I mean, I'm not saying that
because you have made stuff
and
asked whether people liked it.
But
I have never really noticed you like get really super happy or enjoy.
I get that way with you though. When I make like when I made the moi moi with the banana leaves.
Yeah, with me you do. But,
yeah.
But with girls a little bit.
Yeah.
And even with Micah to some degree.
Yeah.
But with when we have people over.
Oh, that's why I get more nervous. Like, is it good enough or something like that? Whereas
you don't really you don't really get like an excited like, oh, they're gonna like when they enjoy it. You don't have that
feeling,
sense of satisfaction, I guess.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, but I do
get
which is where we balance each other out, because if we have guests and friends over, what I get enjoyment out of is the tablescape and the setting and the presentation. Yeah. I like that.
And more of the conversations.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that. You don't mind if, well, I know that when you're cooking, you like people being on the other side of the counter and not in the space. And I don't think I even like people being in the kitchen. I like you being in the kitchen, but I can only imagine when the girls don't get into the kitchen. And Micah rarely does, except when he comes and says, "Mommy smells good." But I think for me, where we balance each other out is the fact that we can enjoy each other's cooking and we can enjoy each other's company while we cook. And there isn't the traditional rule. So we started off by talking about how there's a traditional rule of like, okay, me not cleaning up while I cook. And I had an itch there. Me not cleaning up while I cook, and how that be translated to you coming in the kitchen like a bomb went off and you come in the cleaning the kitchen, to over the years of us being together and being married, I have worked towards, being more conscious of not leaving a mess when I cook. And then on the flip side of you do it well. I think, I don't know if it's because of just your past experience, but you just do it well, where you're able to handle all the tasks of it, of the cooking, cleaning, start to finish, the prep work and all that. And the only time I've enjoyed the prep work I won't say the only time. The times I enjoy the prep work to cooking is when it's a big holiday coming or a big event coming. But you enjoy that regardless if it's a big event, a small event, and all that stuff. That doesn't mean I don't love cooking. You enjoy regardless of it.
Because I approach it from an engineering perspective.
That's
true. That's literally what I do.
It's true.
I look at it from, here's the components I have.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I'm going to do with those components. Here's the order of operations. Prep, get everything together, prep, do this,
Yeah.
do that.
And I am more like,
and as when you're working in a real engineering environment, things happen.
yeah, and
that
then
you
you
have
can
to
flow it,
adjust
adjust
to
with
on
it.
the fly. And so
Yeah.
when I go to the pantry and grab something that I didn't think of before, it kind of falls into that.
And me on the other end, I don't approach it that way. I just grab the ingredients and I start cooking, which does work sometimes when we open the refrigerator and we thought we had all these leftovers and the kids have eaten and I was like, well, what are we going to eat for dinner or something?
Mm-hmm.
And I have to whip something off real quick and you come and you're like, oh, what are you cooking? I think that's where my strength shines in. I can just think of something off the fly and I can make something that everybody's going to like. You do the same thing too. I'm not saying you don't.
We do, but but they're different.
Our approaches are very, very different, and I think we complement each other that way. And because we both love cooking, I can at least say our kids and friends don't go hungry when they come and visit us. We really, really do enjoy the whole gamut of the experience of cooking and sitting down together and eating.
But also making sure that what people are eating is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because we both like to cook, not just because we enjoy it, but also because we like knowing what's in our food.
What's in our food, yeah. We like to control the ingredients and
homemade just
which is
tastes better.
funny though. We like to make pancakes, but Michael had McDonald's, and he said
That boy.
the McDonald's pancake was better than yours. I thought that was like sacrilege. Like what?
Yes, it is.
And but for a 5-year-old, I don't know what was in that McDonald's, pancakes. Which
Lots of butter.
yeah,
That's
probably what it was. Which was shocking because I think if his sisters, I heard that they were like, "What? What are you talking about? Daddy's pancakes are always like, the bomb and all that." So we have to work on his palate there that way, because that was a little bit like I felt that one for you. I really did. But so back to cooking. What's your favorite meal of the day?
Oh, breakfast.
Breakfast. You like
Which
breakfast?
it didn't used to be. I never ate breakfast.
Uh-huh. So what changed?
When I got in the Army, they made us eat breakfast.
Uh-huh.
And I just started, I don't know what switched. I just started liking it. We always had eggs all the time as a kid. Like, we all had tons of eggs. And so, eggs are one of my favorite foods. But I just didn't like eating breakfast for some reason. But then, when I had to eat it, and got used to eating just like eggs and other stuff, I don't know, it just became my favorite.
Yeah. You do like eggs.
Yeah.
And cheese.
Who doesn't like cheese?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not. I mean, I can eat cheese, but it's not like. I mean, if the world was ending and there was no cheese, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be
Says
bothered
the
by
person who
it.
keeps fussing that they want cheese.
Because I can't eat cheese now because of just the allergens part. But that's the only part. When you can eat something, but when you can't eat it, all of a sudden you want it.
You liked cheese just as much when you could eat it more than as you do now.
You think so?
Yes. You don't like it as much as I do.
No, that's true.
That's for sure.
And I don't like it as much as the kids do.
Yeah, but you still like it quite a bit.
Yeah, it's not like I hate it. It's not like, oh, cheese, no. I mean, but if we say, let's drive to Wisconsin to go try cheese, you would jump on the car and you want to go see it. That's not going to be my thought about driving to Wisconsin to go try cheese.
Yes, it would. You know why?
Why? Because I'm going to be with you.
Yes, that too. I wasn't going to say that, but that's a good one. I like it. I'm going to say that was what I was going to say.
Okay. We're going to go with that one.
Yeah.
But now I want to know why.
Because cheese and wine go together. There's lots of wineries.
Oh. Okay. All right. That is true. So we've, I mean, I think I do love cooking with you though. I love that part.
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
I also enjoy cooking with you.
And I enjoy the experience of cooking with you because you got me to try some things I wouldn't have tried before. And there's still some things I will not try.
Yet.
Yeah, but you've pushed me past my my comfort zone, and I think that's
What kind of steaks do you like now?
Oh gosh, you're gonna bring that up. Medium rare.
Yeah.
Medium rare,
Yeah.
which is like shocking because when we met, I liked it well done.
You liked it overcooked. Yes.
Overcooked. Well, whatever. I mean, like, I was born and raised in Nigeria, and
Uh-huh.
we like our meat cooked well and
I
all
know.
that.
I've had
So
the very chewy,
chewy.
overcooked.
Yeah, and
Mm.
then um, we used to go to state restaurants, and I wanted medium well. I went from medium well to
You started
medium
out with well done.
well done, yeah, to
Then you
medium
then you
well
tried medium well. No, yeah, medium well, and then you went to
to
medium,
medium.
and then you finally ended up at medium rare. And
Yeah,
occasionally you'll have a rare one too.
that's because I'm eating out of your plate, not because I'm gonna be like, oh, give me a rest. No,
Yeah,
but
but I think
medium
you'll
rare.
eventually make it to
Oh
rare.
no, 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 no,
Because
no.
how often have you had my plate and you said it was better
Well,
still?
well, I always eat out of your plate. It's standard. I think I eat out of your plate
I
more
know,
than I eat
so
out
we
of
might
my
as well
plate.
get a rare at this point. I'm just saying.
No.
Just accept it.
I should just accept it. Well, I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind trying something. I mean, we had that rule with Micah. At least try it.
Yeah.
But you have a very, very, very versatile and interesting palate.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, very versatile, interesting palate, I would say. So I feel like I've come a long way. Now, about cooking, what is it about my cooking? What do you like about my cooking?
I don't always like to cook, so when you're cooking, you're giving me a break because I do most of the cooking. You are a really good cook, so when you cook, which is often, it's just not as often as me. I'd say probably 60-40
60,
or
40.
55% of the time I'm cooking. You're cooking the other, so
Yeah.
55 to 60% is what I cook. You cook
Yeah.
the rest. So when you're cooking, I get a break from it, which I do enjoy not cooking sometimes. You cook really well, so I get to enjoy something that's going to be good. And sometimes, not often, but sometimes my favorite thing is when I'm trying something new. And so, like the first time you did the moi with the banana leaves, I was super excited about it. I really wasn't that excited at first until I tasted it, and then I realized how different
It's
they
very
were.
different. And I
So-
hadn't done it that way, and I haven't done it since.
I know.
I know. Or when I made the bean cake, the akara with the lentils, that was
Yeah.
very dense. That was me trying it for the first time.
Yeah, but the next time you made it, it came out even better.
You better,
Well
yeah.
done.
So I feel like
You also cook things I wouldn't
like what?
normally. I'm not a big dessert person, so when it comes to desserts, you're the ones that typically
Yeah, I always think
either
about
cooks it or
makes
asks
it,
me
yeah,
to
mhm.
cook it. And while I don't like desserts that much,
doesn't mean you can't make it.
I do enjoy eating it when you make it.
That's true.
Sometimes. 'Cause
Which
you don't make
reminds
it
me-
overly sweet.
Yeah, it's the
and-
right balance because you don't like overly sweet.
Yeah.
And I was actually thinking about speaking about desserts, and I know we already picked out planned out the Thanksgiving menu, but I was thinking about there was this thing I used to make it back in college. It was like a strawberry pretzel dessert, but you don't like, so the pretzel gets kind of like a little crunchy and soggy at the same time with
You mentioned this
cream
thing before.
cheese and Jello. And I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, I haven't made this. I used to be famous for making that, and I think Micah might like it.
Try
You
it.
might like the sweetness and the crunchiness. It gives you that sweet, salty crunch kind of balance.
Try it.
So I was
Why
thinking
not?
about that recently, and I was like, I haven't made that in years. But I think what I do like about us and the cooking is that, when sometimes if one person is the main primary person that cooks, even though we just talked about the whole 60-40, I think it's more 55 though. I think so.
More recently.
Depending on the season too.
More recently. Because in the past, I'd probably say it was more 70-30.
In the past, when in the past?
Before we moved,
Okay, yeah.
70-30.
Well, Micah was a lot more little then.
Yeah. And now it's probably closer to me
Yeah.
55 and
Which was what we were when we started. We were always that though. I used to
Well,
cook
'cause
a
even
lot.
When we were in Maryland, I cooked more a lot more. Probably 80-20 then. It also depends on what's going on too. Like Thanksgiving, I cooked I cook.
Well,
the
you
whole
cook
thing,
all of that. You used to cook all of Thanksgiving.
Where
That one, I'm not even gonna. I'm like that one. It's just been something you've always done over the
Yeah.
years. You cook all of Thanksgiving and
Christmas dinner.
on Christmas dinner
It's a special occasion.
and Easter.
I usually cook the whole thing.
That is true. Doesn't mean, but you know, I think we should clarify. It doesn't mean that I can't cook it. Well, I don't
you
know.
Definitely can. You have.
You know,
You have
like
before.
yeah, like for instance, like my
just
mac
don't.
and cheese. The girls like your style of mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Micah doesn't mind my style of mac and cheese. I don't think, you know, because I make mine as more of a roux
You
and
make
there's
yours-
cheese sauce and all that.
Yeah.
And so, but if there was a bind, the girls would eat it, you know, and the kids would eat it.
They eat it. I'm not saying they don't like it. It's just not their favorite.
It's not their favorite
kind,
style, yeah. And so, you know, it's not like I can't, and I think that's the thing to clarify. It's not like I can't cook all of these things, but that's your strength. And I just stay in my lane on that one. I'm like, look,
Well, the
I'm just
difference
gonna
is
cross
if
my
you're
leg.
cooking a dinner, or like you're cooking a big pot of jollof rice, right? That's one. You're just cooking like maybe
One
two
dish,
or three
yeah.
things. Like if you're cooking one dish and a couple sides. That's
Mm-hmm.
significantly different than cooking a Thanksgiving dinner where you're cooking a
Multiple.
a lot of things.
And baking and all
yeah.
that stuff.
Which I'm a little better at planning and prepping and cooking when it comes to multiple things at once, strategizing how to put stuff in the oven and like
What goes when and all that.
And
How long will, time.
portion
Oh, the
sizes, the
time.
timing,
Oh,
yeah.
timing. How long something's going to take. You're better at that than, you know, than
Yeah,
I
so
am.
that-
Because you're better with time, period, than I am. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're thinking. I am not good with time, and I can admit that. You're better with time, so you can time it. But I think the other thing, back to like what we're talking about, is cooking. So the question is cooking a traditional role? Or is it
I don't think it is. I mean,
based on the couples?
I mean, today, no. A long time ago, yeah, for sure. People thought of it a certain way, but we've talked about that before, though, right? Like even back when it was quote unquote considered women were more often thought of as the ones that did the cooking. When it was a grill outside, it was always the guys. So like, where'd that rule come up from? It's still cooking. It's just outside.
Yeah.
And in a different form. So how's that? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I get no,
when you
but
really think about it, it makes no sense.
I think for us though, we don't have that kind of role. We've never had that.
Chefs are generally guys. I mean, there's women chefs too, but when you look at the roles in restaurants, even back in the day, usually guys. So it's not like guys have never been in the role of cooking.
Okay.
So where that traditional thing came
The
up,
idea of it, we don't know. We couldn't tell.
It
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. It makes more sense to think of it now as shared responsibilities. And,
Well, I think
and
that's-
also where you have
the-
your strengths, right? Like people, if you don't enjoy cooking,
Exactly. That was what I was
going to
say.
the wife, then don't do it.
And
as long as the other person does enjoy doing it.
I think that was what I was gonna say. Like, you know, if your perspective, you gotta walk in your relationship or marriage the way you know
Work on your strengths.
works for you.
Yeah.
I think
Work with your strengths. If one of you doesn't like cooking, the other one does, then you should have the one person who does enjoy it cook.
And find your supporting
find
role.
something else to do.
Yeah, find a supporting role.
Find something else to do. And maybe you'll still end up cooking every once in a while because that's because you like cooking doesn't mean you want to do it every single time.
Yeah.
And if you both don't like cooking, it means you just both have to you still divvy it up and suck it up. One of you suck it up basically, like, you know.
Eat out like some people do.
Well,
Not
you
that.
can do
Not
that
that.
too, but if
I don't. Not that.
You could do that as an option if it's something you can afford.
Yeah,
and all those other
exactly.
factors. But if you have to cook, then just divvy it up. Where you cook today, I'll cook tomorrow. Even if we don't, both don't like it, then you just.
Well, and I guess that's where those even the meal prep, meal prep ideas have come in.
Yeah, there's
you know,
those.
on the subscription and all that stuff for people.
I think you got to do what
works for your
as a couple.
relationship as a couple, and I think that's the key. And again, communication matters. Like when you were saying, like, hey, you know, why is that whenever you cook, not that you said it in this tone, but I'm just going to paraphrase it that way and say, why is that whenever you cook, you just leave a mess like a bomb went off? I was like, I thought you were just going to, clean. And when you and I met, I wasn't like, I never used the dishwasher to like, load dishes. It was just like my drying rack kind of thing. And now, it's like you have your style of loading the dishwasher, but I load the dishwasher, and we just find our roles that we play. Yeah. I think that's how you work as a team. And yes. I think that's the whole gist of, even with the whole idea of this topic about cooking for us, is working as a team.
I mean, you got to work as a team no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Whether homeschooling, cooking,
raising kids.
You have to be a team.
You have to be a team, and then also knowing, like, hey, I know that you're strong at certain things, and maybe deferring to you on that one, and you know that I'm strong at certain things and deferring to me on that one, and then working on our weaknesses together jointly. Like, there's some things like for instance, you don't like bitter cola is one of them. You don't like bitter cola.
Who does?
And I don't like it either. But when we get like one of those kind of colds that doesn't clear off or go away, we know eating that bitter cola does, for some reason, I don't know what's in it, it clears it up. So what is my strength is going to go find it, like going to the African restaurant, grocery stores and looking for it and finding it, and then encouraging you to eat it. But and then on the flip side, I love waffles.
Yeah.
And like sometimes for Mother's Day, that's all I want, waffles. And no matter how much I eat waffles, I really like waffles. And so I love when you make the Belgian waffles with the pearl sugars and all that stuff. And now Micah likes waffles, so like it's not even my thing anymore. I got to share again. And then, just the other things, I think the key about relationship that I've discovered with us is that we work with each other's, we just work with each other as a team, no matter what it is. I'm not good with timing stuff in cooking, and I know that you're better at julienning things than I am. So I'll say, hey, can you help me with this? And thank you for always being willing to do that, because by you being willing to do that, it takes a huge load off of me. And you can you use the mandolin a lot better, no matter what I try with that mandolin.
Because you're afraid of it.
It's a very scary tool, But then, so how do we end this? So I'm gonna give you 5 things that I think are your strengths in cooking, and I want you to tell me 5 things that you think are my strengths in cooking, and then we can talk about maybe 2 things that we could just say, hey, you know what, maybe we could work on. Does that sound good?
2 things we can work on?
In cooking.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I think one of the biggest thing that is one of the top 5 for me with you is that you're always willing to cook for your family. Even if you're dead tired, like, you will still cook. If Micah goes, Daddy, I want a grilled cheese, you will make him a grilled cheese, even if it's like 10 o'clock at night, or the girls, want mashed potatoes. Like, I don't even know anything. You're always willing to do that, and I want to thank you for that. Now, the other thing is, oh gosh, we just talked about it extensively, the cleaning part. You clean, and I will not even know. And that's your strength generally. You're better organized than I am. So you will clean, and you will cook, and you will clean, and nobody will even know you cooked, except for smelling the food.
All right.
Then, pushing me to try new things. You're good at that. You're definitely good at trying the Asian food. Asian food, I don't know how to balance all those flavors, and you do that very well. So, you get me to try new things. So how many things have I said? 3?
3.
4 things. 3's enough?
Yeah, I think 3's
okay,
enough.
3's enough. Okay, there you go.
Because 5's a lot.
5's a lot. Okay, it's a stretch. Not for you, but I could go on. Okay, you tell me.
Things you do well.
In cooking. I mean, there's a lot of things I do well. I'm just saying.
Well, there is. There really, really is. So, one of the things you do well in cooking is bringing in a balance.
What do you mean?
Well, sometimes I do get carried away. I make a ton of stuff, and you reel me in to not make too much stuff, not in quantity, but in how many different dishes I'll make at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And so.
So do you think that's a strength?
I do. Because,
why?
Because you do it, one, as a way to reel me in so that I won't get too tired. You do it so that we also won't have too many things to
go through eating.
And yeah, I think it's a strength that you reel me in sometimes. I don't do that often, but when I do, you pull me back.
Okay.
You're encouraging, like with the bread thing. I don't know why it took me so long. Now I can do it really well, but when I couldn't, I really couldn't.
5 loaves in one day, and then it goes by like that. Oh, the dinner rolls you make are also good too. So
right, but there was a time when I wasn't. You kept encouraging me to push it, and you had good insight into what I should, do to fix
what the blockage was, whatever it was. Okay.
Yeah, and then another thing you do really well with cooking is you're really good at balancing flavors. You say I am with like Asian foods and stuff, and I'm good with balancing flavor. But when it comes, but you're really good at balancing flavor in a different way than me. That's kind of hard to explain. For example, when you make a non-jollof rice dish,
okay,
right, or soup,
okay,
we both have our completely different methods of doing rice.
Yeah.
And soup.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I make soup, it turns out pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when you make soup, it turns out 10 times better than when I make soup.
Well, soup is my thing. I love soups.
Right, but you do a really good job at it, and I do exactly the same things.
And you watched me do it.
I do the exact same things you do. I've tried mimicking you, and I still can't get it as good as you. So I think you are really good at balancing flavors with those things.
Okay. So that's 3.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Okay, so 2 things that you could work on as a weakness.
Yeah.
You just don't make me enough waffles. I just don't think you don't make me enough waffles.
That's fair enough. Because it's such a.
I'm just saying.
I don't mind making them, but man, they work.
Yeah,
they work. Especially the ones you like with the pearl sugar. I like to clean up.
Yeah, I like the yeasted waffles.
Those things make such a mess.
Well, maybe we can get rid of the pearl sugar. We just make me yeasted waffles. I like the yeasted waffles. Can we do that?
We can do that.
Okay. Let me see a third thing. Second thing. Oh gosh. I can't think of one. I really can't.
Okay.
I can't think of one that I think is because I think, we do regular pulse checks anyway. So if things ever arise, I always tell you about it. So I can't think of one. So, okay. So what about you?
I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say.
Which is?
Cleaning thing.
I wasn't thinking that. I know you pretty well, and you weren't going to say that one.
Well, because you've been working on it, and you've gotten a lot better, so there's no point in pointing that out. I honestly can't think of anything with you either that you could do better. Oh, yes, I can. Get out of your own way.
Oh, okay. I can work on that.
Because that's the problem you're having with the sourdough.
I know.
Right? You're in your own head. You can't get past it.
Well, I also don't like my sourdough as sour as you like it, but it's still making...
Yes, but
it's still making the sourdoughs. I get what you're saying.
Making sourdough sour, you have to take certain steps, right?
Yeah.
To get it to that point.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that.
That's true, because I have to be precise. Half a cup of this and half a teaspoon of,
you don't have to worry about that. You just have to just do it. And
yeah.
So just get out of your own way. That would be my.
I can work on that.
Yeah.
Because that applies into a lot of things too. Because being an analytical person, I do kind of get my head into things. But, there are moments where that's a strength and it's great. And there are moments where it just becomes a hindrance. So I can work on that. Thanks, babe. Well, I think it's been a good conversation. I think, not necessarily from the aspect of just traditional roles, but just the fact of how do you navigate, being in a marriage and in a relationship where you balance, you both enjoy something and you balance each other out. Then you can highlight things that you should work on.
But you can also work with it if you both enjoy it.
Yeah.
You figure
it out.
Figure out what works for you.
Right? Yeah. I agree with
Because
that
there's
100%.
other areas besides cooking
Yeah, oh yeah,
that
absolutely.
we had to come to figure out how we were going to manage it.
Yeah,
where
absolutely.
neither one of us like it, or only one of us likes it. We just have to figure out what works. We had to figure out what worked for us, and that's other subjects for another
Yeah, another day, another
day. But
conversation.
yeah,
But I
that's the
think
key
that's
is just figuring out what works for you.
the beauty about
as a couple.
relationship is just always doing the work, putting
Yeah.
the work in there.
Yeah,
And always feeling that the person that you're putting the work in has your best interest at heart of making you a better person, a better version of yourself. So thank you for doing that for me.
well, thank you for doing that for me.
Well, if there are any conversations or topics that you guys want us to cover, just let us know, leave it in the comments. And we've enjoyed this segment of talking about cooking and just what we enjoy doing and just the love and grace in relationships and the
Yes.
conversations that come through.
Well, any excuse to
That-
sit with you, right?
I know. I mean, absolutely. I hold your hand, so. All right.
All right.